Hi everyone and welcome back to another video. I said I probably wouldn't be able to do another book haul for the end of this year. Like I only uploaded like my first book haul of the year about 3 months ago. But since then I have acquired enough books that I think I can do a final book haul of the year and still edit this and get it up before New Year's Eve. So that's what I'm gonna do. It is already 1 PM and it's already very, very dark, but that is like the fucking UK, the fucking Scotland for you. So, yeah, I've acquired a couple of books. I think only one of these books is from like maybe 6 months ago. The rest are all pretty recent. So let's start with the poetry collection and we will start with this. This is 3 poems by Hannah Sullivan. I have actually spoke about this book in a recent reading vlog, but essentially this is a collection of 3 long poems. I know it's in the title, but I really didn't get that. I just thought it was called 3 poems. Essentially the first one is a very long poem about New York. I am trying to remember what the second one is, and the third one is about motherhood and also her father. I think this was a collection I ended up giving 2 stars, so for me I am so tempted to talk about the things that I didn't like about it, but instead I will read you the blurb so that you can find out a little bit more about it. This is her debut collection and it says 3 long poems of fresh ambition, intensity and substance. I think I always say this, but I love how people blur poetry collections. I think they're one of the most exciting bits about poetry collections. Though each poem stands apart, their inventive and looping encounters make for a compelling unity. You, Very Young in New York, captures a great American city in all its alluring detail. It is a wry intended study of romantic possibility, disappointment and the obduracy of innocence. I've never heard this word before. Repeat Until Time, which is the second poem, begins with a move to California and unfolds into an essay on repetition and returning home, at once personal and philosophical. The Sandpit After Rain, which is the third poem, explores the birth of a child and the loss of a father with exacting clarity. So yeah, that is a summary of those 3 poems. The next book that I picked up is Soul Sisters by Leslie Loco. I am a huge fan of Leslie Loco's writing, although at the moment all I can seem to remember is Sundowners by her. I have read a couple of others by her, I think like Bitter Chocolate or something like that, and there's another one. Some of her books don't really take my fancy. They're set in like the Regency period and stuff like that, and I'm just not... At the time I wasn't really interested in that. Now I'd be more inclined to read them, but I haven't read them, so maybe I'll do that. But I saw this in Waterstones and I didn't know she had a new book out, so I was like, yes, I'm going to pick it up. Again, this is one I have already read and I believe I've given this 2 stars. As I've already read it, I can tell you what it's about, but I feel like I shouldn't do that because I think for me what the issue was with this book was the blurb and what the actual content of the book for me mismatched. Like what's on the blurb for me I don't feel encapsulates what the story is about. It makes you think one thing about this book and I feel like the book is actually a completely different story and it would have been fine had it just been blurbed correctly. So it says here, since childhood Jen and South African born Kemisia, known to her friends as Kemi, have lived like sisters in the McFadden family home in Edinburgh, brought together by a shared family history which stretches back generations. The ties that bind them are strong and complicated. Solomon Royi is from South Africa's black political elite. Handsome and charismatic, he meets both Kemi and Jen on a trip to London and sweeps them both off their feet. Kemi, captivated by Solomon and wanting to discover more about her past, travels to South Africa for the first time. Jen, seeking an escape from her father's overbearing presence, decides to go with her. In Johannesburg, it becomes clear that Solomon is looking for the perfect wife to facilitate his soaring political ambitions. And as the real story behind Jen and Kemi's connection threatens to emerge, Solomon's choice will have devastating consequences for the both of them. Again, just reading it again there, I'm like, literally this is not what like is happening in the book. Like it is, but also the way it's framed and how it unfolds in the story, that's not how it is. Like it's really weird where it says like he meets them both and sweeps them off their feet. Like no, that's not even what happens. Like he meets Kemi and yes he meets Jen eventually, but like he doesn't sweep both of them off their feet. And it's like Kemi, captivated by Solomon, wanted to discover more about her past, travels to South Africa the first time. It's like, well yes, but she travels there also for like another reason, you know, like those things are intertwined in it, but like no. So yeah, this is an interesting one for me, but obviously as this is a book haul, we won't go into sort of thoughts about it, but yeah, that's our book for there if you're interested. And also, I guess if you are interested in what I had to say about it, again, in my recent reading blog, I do talk about this book. The other book that I purchased when I was in Waterstones was Superfluous Women by Carola Dunn. This is like the 20th book in this Daisy Dalrymple, I hope I'm saying that right, mystery series. And since then, guys, I have gone on to order like the rest. I think I'm on like book 7 now, as in I've ordered up to like book 7 or 8. Who knows? But, well, let me just show you the other ones in the series, because this is the first one that I picked up, and I picked it up in Waterstones, but then I went on to order books 1 and 2, which is, I think this is book 1 and this is book 2. This is just a very light detective mystery. So Daisy is, it's interesting because in this book, obviously I'm 20 books in, so she is married to Alec, who is a detective chief inspector. But in these ones, she's not married to him. She has just met him in this book. In this book is where she meets him for the first time. Yes, that is correct. And yeah, these are really just light-hearted mysteries. Daisy is basically your little amateur sleuth, but really that's not how she starts. She's not one that's into detecting, you know, into detective mysteries or anything like that. She just happens in these books to be at the scene of most of these crimes, so she's able to help in some way, and then obviously Alec is the actual official officer on the scene, and that's how, and these two, they're bonding, they're forming their relationships. However, in this book, she is staying with 3 friends. Well, I think one of them is only her friend, and the other 2 are like women that live with her. And the Superfluous Women refers to women who are sort of the leftovers of the war when all the men were killed, so there's loads of unmarried women, and they all are housed together in some small village in England, as it always is. And Daisy is recovering from like bronchitis or something, so she's been staying in a hotel. She goes to their house for Sunday lunch. Alec also goes with her because though he's not actually in that town recovering with her, he comes down to see her. And before they even sit down to eat, they discover a dead body in the house. There's been a cellar door that they haven't been able to unlock. Alec picks the lock, and lo and behold, there is a dead body. And that essentially is everything that is on the back of the book. So it says here, you know, Alec picks the lock. When he eventually opens the door, what greets them is not a cachet of wine, but the stench of a dead body. And with that, what was a pleasant Sunday lunch becomes a much darker affair. Now Daisy's 3 friends are the suspects in the murder case, and her husband Alec is a witness. So yeah, it's very light-hearted. It's just, a lot of this is done in so much like nice detail. We really get the in and outs of Daisy's day, which I quite like. And yeah, it really is just like her accompanying other people to talk to other witnesses, like talking to other people in the village about what might have happened. A lot of sleuthing going around, not only on her behalf, like from Alec's perspective in terms of his, I guess, right-hand man, left-hand man, or whatever. They're also doing lots of sleuthing, even though they are obviously official police. And eventually, yes, they find out who the killer is, and I like this one because the killer was underneath your nose, and like, I was able to find out about it like halfway through. I was like, okay, I think I do know who this is. But when it is revealed, you're not like, oh, this is dumb. It actually makes like a lot of sense. You're like, cool. So they're really good, pleasant reads. And from these first 2, I've also enjoyed these. This one is murder takes place at an ice skating. Not an ice skating, takes place at winter, but it's something to do with ice skating because they've all been ice skating. Again, what I like about these mystery novels is the clues are there for you. Like, if you pay attention, instantly you're like, I can see who did this. Because again, with this one, I was just like, initially I was like, I think I know who the killer is. Like, from when they said something, I was like, why would this person not be here? And I was like, cool. So you can piece together the clues. And also with this one, again, I feel like I guessed who it was, like very much like 3/4 of the way in, so very much in the late stages, but again, the clues were all there. And I do like that. I think it's great to have a mystery where like actually you can figure it out, but there's also loads of other backstory behind it, and especially this one has a nice little backstory. So yeah, like I said, this one takes place in like a sort of winter house. Daisy originally is like a reporter. She writes for a magazine, so in these cases she is going into the houses to write about their major like luxury houses, and it is the same for this one as well. And this one is about the murder that's discovered of a young girl in a flower bed. So like I said, I have ordered the rest in that series. I read the 3rd one actually on my Kindle because I just needed something light at the time, and then the rest I have also ordered. I managed to get all of these for a discount through work because they are one of the imprints of the major company that I work for, so I'm so happy. I'm literally just there like book 5, book 6, book 7, so yeah, I'll put the books on the screen here. Another collection that I managed to buy, this is from a small independent publisher, like super small. It's called Seahorse Publications, I believe. Yeah, Seahorse Publications, and this is Granite Heart, I've been saying this repeatedly, so if it sounds weird, that's why. By Kimberly Petrie. I went to a poetry night in Glasgow and I heard her read her poems and I was like, her poems are amazing. So I bought this collection and absolutely loved it. I talk about this in my Lisbon reading vlog, so I will link that in the card. But I just think this is such a stunning collection and I actually want to read it again, so in the next couple of days you will definitely see this on my Goodreads. But it's just such a stunning collection. She writes a lot about Glasgow, she writes a lot about love, about domestic violence, about just society as it is now. Like, she has a poem in there about Instagram, and I just think it's so nice because it's one of those things that will be stuck in its time, but like in a good way. You'll be able to look back and be like, oh yeah, that was about that certain social media platform. And I just thought it was a really great collection. It is really varied. I like the poetic technique she uses in here, but I think mostly I just like how her poems make me feel. And I keep saying this in another video, but I will go back to that video where I spoke about, like, I guess what qualifies as, like, you know, poetry that I really like, and I think this just like ticks all the boxes for me. I also think she writes and also speaks in Doric, which I believe is a dialect spoken in Aberdeen. If I'm wrong, I am wrong, okay? Does it say anything here? It says a fresh and varied collection which moves between the assurance between English and Doric. Okay, yeah, so it is definitely Doric, but yeah, I believe it is Aberdeen, like, whatever. You can like find out more if you want. So that was also a nice kind of blend. So sometimes you will come across poems that are just a bit like, I'm not sure I'm getting this. It's because obviously it's in the dialect, but still a very stunning collection. I don't know if I've shown this in a book haul because, yeah, I looked at my other video and I feel like it wasn't in there. But this is The Book of Shadows by Kate Tiernan. I think I just butchered that last name. Anyway, I think I spoke about this in a reading vlog, but I used to love this Wicker series when I was younger, right? I absolutely loved it. And so yeah, this year I was just like, I'm just gonna read it, reread it again. I read this and was a bit like, oh, I don't know how I'm going to do that. I didn't hate it or anything like that, but this is part of a very long series. I believe there's 22 plus books maybe. So this is basically about 16-year-old Morgan, who is essentially finding out she is a witch. The blurb isn't that interesting, but I'll read it to you. It says here, something is happening to me that I don't understand. I see things, feel things in a new way. I can do things normal people can't do. Powerful things, magical things. It scares me. I never chose to learn witchcraft, but now witchcraft is choosing me. 16-year-old Morgan is not who she thought she was, but in that case, who is she? Essentially, she is a teenage girl in high school, and this new guy comes to her school and he's all like dark and mysterious, and he like basically says he's a Wiccan and gets loads of the kids like coming to his little circles, and throughout those sort of interactions she is learning that perhaps she has a bit more propensity for magic, and also he is like clearly seeing that, or maybe he already knows that. So my memories of reading this are great, but I also feel like as I was reading this, I was like, is this the series that I mean? Is there another similar series? I don't think there is. I think this is the series, I'm just remembering it differently. And I feel like maybe this was made into a TV show. If it wasn't, I had a very active imagination when I was reading this. But either way, I will try and pick up the second and third one. It's just they're kind of hard to find and I don't want to read them on my Kindle, but I'm going to have to, I think, at some point. But yeah, I don't know if anyone else read these. If you did read these, let me know, because yeah, there's a sense of nostalgia there, but at the same time I'm like, obviously reading this like literally 15 years later, I'm like, this isn't what I remember it to be. That is it for me. That is the final book haul of the year. I don't know if 2023 will bring more book hauls, if I'm honest with you. I have a lot of books. I'm going to count them at some point because these are just the books that I have in Scotland. But yeah, I have a lot of books. I have a lot of unread books, and whilst there are tons of books I do want to buy, it's been nice not like filling my channel with book hauls, so long may it continue really. Obviously I like to share new books, but the problem obviously with me is usually when I buy these new books, I then read them. So really, in summary, what you're hearing is like a recap, but I do try to also just not recap my thoughts. But yeah, I will link in the description box below any of the videos that talk about these books if you want to hear my thoughts about them, but they will also be in the cards during the video. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Happy New Year, because by the time this video lands, it will be New Year's Eve. But yeah, Happy New Year. I hope you all have a great time celebrating whatever it is you're doing. I also want to say thank you so much for watching my channel this year. I haven't been as consistent with uploading. That is because my life has really been in upheaval since like February this year. So yeah, sometimes it was I've got time to film, but absolutely my headspace has not been in there for filming. But hopefully 2023 I will be back. I will be a bit more regular with content. I will, you know, just have a bit more of a clearer headspace. And yeah, so thank you so much if you have watched my content, commented, liked. I really, really appreciate it. And I will see you in 2023. Bye.